This is Misty.
And this is Kristi.
You're listening to
Misty and Kristi. Coming to you live from our offices in beautiful Dallas, Texas. We would like to extend a special thank you to Dorley Q, Executive Director and Creative Director at Golden Light Studios, for hosting us last week for our podcast. If you'd like more information on Dorley Q and Golden Light Creative, you may visit them at goldenlightcreative.com. Also, if you'd like to host us for a recording at your venue, please contact us on Facebook at Misty and Kristi Show or on Twitter at Misty and Kristi.
Today we are going to be jumping right into a topic that I think most of us can relate to, especially those of us who are currently navigating through what we term the single world. We are going to be talking about manners and authenticity and how those two things actually are intertwined.
They're correlated?
They absolutely are.
Shut the front door.
I know. How surprising is that? Manners and authenticity. They really do go hand in hand. We should write a jingle about that.
It is mind-blowing.
Right? So with that in mind, Kristen is going to share with us an experience she had this past weekend about a situation where manners could have come into play and authenticity could have come into play, but because they were both left at the front door, now we have an issue and a topic. So thank you.
Let me paint the picture for you. It's Saturday afternoon, early evening. And yes, it is Saturday, which means in this country it is college football day.
Woohoo, go Ponies!
Pony up. I live in an area of town where walkability is huge. You can walk to a lot of different restaurants and drinking establishments pretty quickly, which is partly why I chose that particular location to live. I proceed to go have a quick bite to eat, maybe a couple of adult beverages at a local establishment, approximately 1,200 steps from my front door.
Oh, love her life.
According to my Fitbit, it is 1,200 steps from my front door. Love the Fitbit. As I am sitting in this local establishment, I strike up a conversation with a couple next to me, both wearing OU gear, and talking about football and whatnot. Mind you, the sun is setting. We are being blinded by the light, as Foreigner would say. And this gentleman, we'll call him a gentleman for now, because all I see is a dark, shadowy haze.
Again, manners were left at the front door.
I think they were actually left at the third bar he went to.
Okay, could have been.
And this gentleman is screaming at me from across the bar, calling me, "Hey, Titleist!" Backtrack. I had on a Titleist, which is a line of golf wear, golf apparel, golf equipment, and I had a white Titleist hat on, and it had red shaded on the side were what? SMU gear on the side of it, noting as an SMU Mustang Titleist hat. I don't put two and two together that he's reading my hat and calling me Titleist. Now, he's, again, screaming at me from across the bar to get my attention. "Hey, Titleist, you're so adorable." And I look at the girl next to me.
You're so what?
Adorable.
You're so adorable.
Actually, it's more like you're so adorable.
Right? Okay.
In a drunken slur or their spit line. And I look at the girl next to me and I go, "What is he doing?" And she said, "I think he's trying to get your attention."
Oh, faux pas number one.
And I said, "Okay." Mind you, now we're about 10 minutes later, and the sun has set just enough to where I'm not being blinded by the light, and I can see the person now across from me. And he's screaming again, "Titleist, Titleist, Titleist." I'm like, "Can I help you?" He goes, "Titleist sucks. She'd be using Callaway." And I said, "Well, my father's a golfer. I grew up in a Titleist house. That's the way the ball rolls."
Rule number one, men and women. Your first comment towards someone you would like to speak with should not be an insult. That's just a little bit elementary. So not only are we yelling from across the bar, but we've also just offered an insult.
Yes. He didn't ask me, screams at me, "Are you a golfer?" I said, "I am not. My father is a golfer, and every man I have dated except two are golfers." And
so she definitely just gave way more information than I would have, because I would have just looked at him like, shut the hell up. So Kristi was being nice.
Trying to be nice, even though he was yelling at me in his drunken state. Fast forward, I can now see the whole picture because the sun is fully set in that time frame, and he is wearing what? An SMU t-shirt. And what just happened? The commencement of the Texas A&M versus SMU football game where we were very much beaten indeed. So, mind you, unless I turn my head...
Hey, we're known for our academics, not
We
so
are-
much our sports.
Preach, sister, preach.
Okay.
Mind you, on my hat, even though it does say SMU, I have to physically turn my head for you
Right.
to see the SMU ponies.
Right.
Okay. I then asked, were you at the game? He said, yes, my group of friends and I were at the game. I said, great. I said, did you go to SMU? He said, I did not. I didn't know we were going to the game, so I bought this shirt for $7.99 at Tom Thumb.
Here's the deal. Commonalities. When you see someone out in public, you may notice, hey, we have something in common. That can be a great way to start up a conversation.
Time out. The shirt said SMU ... former student.
Now, again, that is a commonality. So that would be a great conversation starter. But here's the deal. Are you wearing the shirt because of affiliation or because of location? You're from the Dallas area, so I want to support and promote SMU. Affiliation would mean you actually, I don't know, got a degree from SMU.
Or your best friend went to SMU.
Or
your parents.
or your kids,
your
or your
siblings.
yeah. So we have an affiliation. Because we tend to assume if you're wearing an SMU shirt, because it's a small private university, you probably have
It's not
some,
UT, it's not
and most
A&M,
people
it's
aren't
not
a fan.
OU.
Yeah, you're not a sports fan, so it was a fair assumption on Kristi's part. So she was going off the commonality. We have something in common. We can strike up a good conversation about that.
And the football game had just ended a couple hours prior.
But he purchased the shirt where?
At Tom Thumb, which is a
Oh.
local grocery store for those who don't know that.
For $7.99. Okay, so he kind of struck down the option of having a conversation surrounding SMU.
He said, "Oh no, we just went to the game." He goes, "I'm a Notre Dame fan."
Okay, so let's just dissect that very quickly. There is no commonality right now.
No, ma'am.
We have no manners.
Because you're screaming at me from across the bar.
We've insulted your apparel. We've insulted, in essence, your school. And we've let you know also we might not have a college degree, which is no big deal.
It's not for everybody.
We get it. We're fine with that. But be your authentic self.
Because then he says to me, "Did you go to SMU?" And I said, "Why, yes, I did. Undergrad, and I'm currently a graduate student."
Here's the deal. Let's continue with here's the deal. First of all, graduate degrees are only received by 16% of our society. So you automatically set yourself in a different category. Now, we all know that people who receive degrees, some of those people are still walking idiots. We get that.
Oh,
We understand that.
With a couple of them.
Yeah. We know quite a few of them that are repping SMU. Now, here's the thing. We're not saying that sets you apart in a good way or a negative way. It is saying that you can complete something. That's a wonderful thing.
You can read, write, and take a test.
There you go. Exactly. But just like you don't want to be discounted because you may not have received a college degree, don't discount others who have. Your life path may have taken you one way, and someone else's life path may have taken you another. From experience, especially if you are raised in the Dallas Metroplex, the minute you say you have an undergraduate degree from SMU, you're considered part of the bubble. Now, I studied in the bubble, not a part of the bubble.
No.
The second you say, not only do I have an undergraduate degree from SMU, but I also have a graduate degree from SMU. Oh, dear God.
Oh. Let the assumptions pour out.
You are no longer dateable. So Kristi was being her authentic self and simply answered the question. He really didn't want the answer, at least not the true one. She should have said no. Because at that point, funny thing, he probably would have been more polite.
And he never asked my name.
Of course not.
He just referred to me as Titleist all night.
Titleist.
Let's say half an hour goes by, I might have had a third adult beverage that's golden color and 20 ounces tall. By now, this lovely other ladies are next to me. I believe they were sisters, and we're having a conversation again. He again yells across the bar, "Hey, Titleist, you're so adorable. Let me get your check." Hang on, bartender. How many beers has she had, and how much is her tab?
Okay, here's the deal. Manners. You could have, men, women, whomever is choosing to pick up the check at that point. Let's say you're short on cash, but you like the conversation, although I don't think this was a conversation of sorts, but let's just call it that because that seems to be the trend of what occurs in our day and age, just yelling across bars and so forth. Why not say, hey, I would like to pick up one of your drinks?
Just one.
Just to be polite. That's the polite thing to do. Yes, we still believe in chivalry, although others don't. We still believe in that. So, hey, you've talked to a girl even though you were rude.
I also might point out he was also drinking the same thing I was, so he knows exactly how much they are.
He could have very easily offered to pay for one of Kristi's drinks. But instead, first he offered, hey, I'm going to get that check for you. Not that she needed him to. But he was offering, which a lot of men still do in this day and age.
And what he doesn't realize is that I already asked for my check because I was already leaving. And I had said to him, because I heard him say that to the bartender, of which I know, and I looked at him and I said, it's $22. I got it.
Here's the deal. If you have to ask how much something is, just don't offer to pay for it. Surprisingly enough, not all women who go out at a bar or a restaurant alone are hoping to either be approached or to have their meal or beverage paid for by someone else.
No.
Some of us really just want to go out, even by ourselves at times, maybe read, maybe catch a game, whatever it may be, maybe just converse with other adults who are there, just to be part of society. To have a social encounter.
Yes.
Men especially, don't feel obligated to pay for something for us. But if you want to, which is also fine to offer, just do it. You don't ask, how much is that?
And what story can you relate from that?
I was out, now it's been a couple of years ago, I was out with one of my really good friends. And we were at an establishment in Addison, which is no longer open. And a gentleman walked up to her and asked to buy her drink. And she said, sure. And he said, go ahead and order. And she did. And the minute she ordered her drink, which at that point I think it was a vodka water, he immediately said to the bartender or asked, how much is that? So then I interrupted and said, no, we got it.
So he didn't say, how much do I owe you?
No, how much is that? As if, hey, I need you to change your order maybe to like a draft or something because I'm not doing this vodka water thing. It looks foolish. Just don't offer. Again, not all women expect for you to buy their drinks. As a matter of fact, I will always decline a drink being purchased by a stranger.
Because then you feel obligated to sit there and speak to them.
Correct. And my hour of time out meaning out in a public establishment, is way worth more than a $9 drink. So my time in getting to talk to other people or just spending time to myself, detoxing from the week, it's not at a value of $9. So you to come in and rob my hour with a $9 drink, it's not going to happen. Here's the next tidbit of that. Don't get angry when you offer to buy a girl a drink and she kindly declines.
Kindly says no thank you.
No thank you.
Isn't that manners? That's manners, right?
That's manners. She's being her authentic self. She's simply saying, no thank you. I'm good. But in that same token, it's okay to still try to talk to that same female. And maybe after you've had like a 20-minute conversation, then you can offer again, hey, would you like for me to buy you a drink? You would be surprised how many of those same women would shift from a no thank you to a sure. Because now it's just not you walking into the environment to save the day because you don't think she can buy her own beverage, which that's an odd speculation. So she can't buy it, so now you're going to do it. No, instead, give her some time, communicate with her, and then
when you see her
maybe
drinking
offer.
low, saying, "May I get you another glass of wine or whatever you're
How
having?"
about don't even ask? How about say to the bartender, "Hey, can you please get another drink?" And then if the woman still says, "No, I'm okay," then just say, "Are you sure? Would you like some water?" Manners. We're just talking about having manners. And then this morning, Kristi heard another story.
Oh, this is fantastic. So I was en route to our Dallas office, and I looked at my gas gauge, of course. I'm like, crap, I need gas. This is what I need an assistant for. It's just the everyday life.
Right.
Bull crap they have to deal
Monday
with.
morning shit.
Absolutely. And there was a story on the radio, and which station it is, I can't remember, and the DJ's name, I have no idea. And so I was taken aback by the story, so I sat there with my car in idle for 5 minutes at the gas station listening to the story because I was late meeting my lovely partner in crime here, Misti. And the DJ called the gentleman live on radio and said, "Hey, my name is blah, 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 whatever. Do you mind if I speak to you live on the radio?" And he was like, "Oh, well, sure. That's fine." Long story short, the backstory is this guy and this girl were out with their friends, and they ran into each other at a bar in Uptown, and they struck up a conversation, got along really well, ended up splitting off from their groups and going and eating dinner. And apparently the girl reported that they were having a wonderful time. They had this great chemistry. It was that, she looked at her watch and it was like 4 hours later kind of situation. The DJ asked the gentleman about it. And he goes, "Well, yeah, I bet she did say all that. Yeah." And the DJ's like, "What happened?"
Okay, so here's the deal.
Okay.
Just so in case you're not catching it, they split off from their group. They had spent some quality time together, had a great time together, great conversation. Everything seemed wonderful.
And he never called her
And
back.
he never called or texted her. So the
Nothing.
girl's like, "What happened? What did I do wrong?"
Yes. The DJ relays all this information to the gentleman, and he said, "Well, I bet she did say that." And the DJ says, "What happened? Why didn't you call her back?" And this guy says, "I am such an idiot," quote unquote. He called himself an idiot. We were talking, and all of a sudden I told her I played football for A&M in college, and now I'm a sports agent. He goes, "And dude, next thing I know, all this like verbal diarrhea and lies about myself kept coming out of my mouth. She is an awesome girl. She is full of life. She's beautiful. I didn't feel I was up to her level because I'm really a part-time manager like at AutoZone or Pet Shop Boys or one of those auto places."
So because he was not secure
And authentic.
and his authentic self, him lacking security in who and what he was, he misrepresented himself to an amazing person who at that moment may not have cared at all about his background.
Exactly.
And I think the problem is we shortchange other people just because you may be a stuck-up asshole who only wants somebody who makes a certain amount of money or lives in a certain neighborhood. Not everybody acts that way. There are some people who truly still want and value good people. We understand that at this point in life, we're in the era of entrepreneurs. We're in the area of people who are going back to school later in life and getting their degree. Things happen. It doesn't matter what your position is. It doesn't matter where you work. Not to everybody. And if it does matter, who the hell wants to date somebody if they can't be their authentic self? I mean, that's the deal.
That's the stupidest thing I ever heard.
I've always loved myself, but probably in the last couple of years, I've learned to like myself. I like who I am so much that if you don't like me, I am okay with that.
Not everybody's gonna like who we are, and that's okay.
And the beautiful thing about being human is we make mistakes.
Yep.
We have failures. We have shortcomings. We have regrets. There are things that some of us wish we did at one point in our life that we didn't do. But that doesn't mean when you're in a social setting with CEOs or VPs that you have to feel less than. If you are your authentic self, people love that. That is the greatest. That I have been told that's one of my most endearing traits, the fact you are authentic.
Right.
It is what people are turned on to. When you speak about things that are important to you, the passion exudes from who you are. So what? You're an assistant manager at Pep Boys. So what? You wait tables at Chili's. Nobody cares. Are you a good person? What are your dreams? What are
Right.
your values?
Right.
Don't sell yourself short.
Because you feel inadequate. Those are because you feel inadequate. That's because you have insecurities. That's not the other person's problem.
And
That
don't
is your
project
situation.
those on the other person.
Exactly.
He automatically thought because she was so vibrant and full of life and beautiful and smart and could actually articulate a freaking thought, which seems to be a lost component of this current society. All of a sudden, he wasn't good enough.
No.
He has no idea. He may have been exactly what she was looking for.
And later in the conversation, the DJ says to this guy, just so you know, she's on the phone listening to this whole thing. And her response to her, him is, he's like, I'm so sorry. Can we at least maybe go out for dinner? And she said, I can't believe a word coming out of your mouth.
Right.
How am I supposed to base a relationship when everything you told me those first few hours put together was all a lie? So everything I feel is for a lie. How do you go off from that? How do you continue on with that?
It is very important that as single adults, we look at life, in my opinion, through a lens. It's the lens of choice. Be who you are and allow the other person the option of choice. If they still choose to date you, although you may feel something isn't adequate in your own life or you've been through some things that what you would term as baggage, they may just look at that as, hey,
that's
it's
just life.
I got my own shit too. I mean, none of us come into this, when you're an adult, an actual adult, when you're past 27, you've done some adult shit.
Yes.
It's fair to say,
Yes,
we have all done some adult shit. We all have a little bit of baggage. And for those of you who think you don't, you're the assholes who want to talk to me anyway. Because you're full of shit. You're not authentic. Don't let your baggage come out a year and a half, 2 years into it when you're actually head over heels in love with this person.
You're talking about marriage and all that stuff that goes with it.
And then they're like this girl who he point blank said was awesome.
And he said, I was an idiot and I couldn't stop myself from spewing these lies. I couldn't stop myself.
He wanted to represent himself as a sports agent. Fine, get it. Great career. But dude, your career as a manager, great career. We're not going to knock it. Most women, now there are some who look for a certain thing.
Yes.
But a quality woman will build with you. A quality woman will look at your life and look at your dreams more than she looks at your past and your failures.
Right.
And if you find yourself linked up with someone who is so focused on your present or your past shortcomings that they cannot see where your dreams and visions can actually take you, you don't want to be with that person anyway.
No.
Regardless of how awesome, amazing, or beautiful they are, because that's not a quality person.
Right.
Quality people understand hardship. Quality people understand work ethic. And quality people believe in people beyond their
100%.
failures.
I don't really necessarily call a failure a failure. I call it a stepping stone to
Absolutely.
making a better choice and doing better.
They're life lessons.
It's a life
and
lesson.
we all have them. And
I
when
failed and fell on my ass a number of times.
And I think when we're authentic about it, we then take the pressure off of other people
yes.
to act as though they're perfect. That makes me want to regurgitate. I mean, I can call it in the first 2 minutes. If you are trying to sell yourself to me or sell me your resume.
And be charming and be charismatic.
I don't need your resume. Your resume holds no value to me in our first 5 minutes. I don't care what you do. I don't care where you live. I don't care any of those things.
Or who you know.
Or
God,
who you know.
Don't start name dropping.
Or even
Jesus.
what school you went to. Or if you didn't go to school. I want to know who you are as a person. What are your values? And as adults, if we can't have that conversation, then you and I cannot and should not be conversing because it's not going to go any further than this 5 minutes. And I was telling Kristi earlier that I recently was approached when I was out, and everything the guy was asking me, my response was no, because he was the whole thing, come over here. No, men, hey, if there's a woman and you see her out in public, do not tell her to walk to you.
Do not beckon her.
And if she does oblige your request and get up and walks to you, understand, we know she's a temporary person in your life. because quality women will say no. When a woman, you're asking her after a 2-minute conversation for her phone number, says no, understand. She doesn't know you well enough to give you her phone number.
You could be a serial rapist.
We don't know. And it doesn't mean she's a bitch or she's a snob or she's these terrible words y'all like to refer to women when they say no. Noah and I have become very good friends.
We are besties.
Noah and I have saved myself from a lot of chaotic situations.
Oh, absolutely.
Noah and I have eliminated a lot of stress from my life. So women, do not feel as though you are wrong when a man hisses at you. Psst, psst, come here.
Hey, girl.
When they, hey girl, you, hey
girl.
ma, hey you look sexy.
Hey, beautiful.
Please do not engage that type of communication. When you do, you automatically lower your value.
And certainly do not scream at them when they are 7 feet away. Like, for real. For real.
Who does that? I mean,
A drunken guy who works for Callaway. And not the nursery, the golf equipment line.
Be your authentic self. Give somebody the opportunity to like you. Love yourself enough so that others can love you too. If you don't love you and you don't like you and you feel inadequate about you, how can you expect another person to love you, to like you, or to value you?
Right.
You don't value you. If I was flipping burgers at a fast food restaurant, I still understand this is temporary for me. My dreams and visions are much greater than where I currently am. And a lot of us are in situations like that. Don't feel as though you're on the island of I, totally isolated. That's not what this single world is about. Be authentic. And all of these dating sites that are out there,
Lord.
It's as if they're just like a hookup sites. Please, and I'm not on those sites, nor have I ever been, but it just seems from what my friends say, it's like you get a dinner date.
I'm not one of those friends, by the way. Not one of those friends.
And all of a sudden, you're supposed to either be in this intense relationship or sex has to follow. That's not what this is.
No.
Where is everybody's in such a rush to have a relationship.
Can we just date?
Can you have a partnership?
Can we date? Can you actually pick me up? Oh, check this out. Radical concept. Come to my house and
Don't
pick
come to
me
my
up.
house.
Okay, well, okay. I'm worried about people coming to my house too. Let's say we've been out 2 or 3 times, but at some point, you come to my house, you pick me up for a proper date.
Right.
We go have dinner. Doesn't have to be Albernays or Three Forks, the fucking mansion. Just a date.
Right.
I don't care where it is. And maybe we go have some cocktails somewhere and actually have logical, intellectual conversation. Challenging conversation and figure out who each other are. Not like, hey, I'm out with my buds and you send me a freaking text. Hey, I'm out. What are you doing? So
WYD.
Oh, God. And first of all, speak. Speak like a human. Speak. Use your words. Oh, and when you do use your words, I heard a very interesting thing over the weekend. Mean what you say what you mean, but don't be mean when you say it.
Very good. That's a very good lesson to live by for all of us. We have to remember that we're all navigating some sort of life to some extent. And we all are trying to figure out what other people are thinking when we're in these relationships.
Yeah.
We're all trying. You're trying to figure out what we're thinking. We're trying to figure out what you're thinking. Eliminate that confusion.
And just be honest.
Be honest. Be mannerable. Be authentic. And it's going to get you a lot further than attempting to sell yourself as something that you're not. Because eventually that facade is gone.
The whole game playing thing, I'm so over. I'm over it.
We're adults.
I'm not in high school. I left high school in 1997, and I went back for my 10-year. Pretty sure I'm not going to my 20, but I left it in 1997. I don't need to go back to the cafeteria.
There's no desire to continue living in a lifestyle like that. And we'll leave you on this one as well. Just because you see a woman who's out in public and she may actually have her shit together, she may actually be attractive and be conducting herself like a lady.
You mean like my butt's covered up?
Yeah,
Oh,
and my boobs aren't out.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not laying over every guy that walks into the bar. Just because you see a woman like that who maybe seems a little bit more conservative in those settings.
It's because we might have something called self-respect.
Yeah. Don't automatically think that she's out of your league. Quite frankly, she may be playing in the exact league you're playing in. So don't shortchange yourself by stepping to someone who you think is going to give you an easy yes, because you're afraid of something that may at first say no until you maybe work that a little bit. Show that person what you have, what you're about, who you are, how you communicate. Then it might turn into a, yes, you can buy me a drink. Yes, you can have my number, but don't automatically discount.
Because do you want the person, male or female, that says yes immediately?
Do you want the person that will walk 20 steps to you from around a bar when you say, hey, come here? Yeah, no.
No.
Standards don't automatically mean off limits. Standards mean self-respect. Value yourself, use your manners, and be authentic.
Y'all have a great day at Misti and Kristi on Twitter or on Facebook, Misti and Kristi Show. Y'all be good.